Welcome back. How are you guys doing? I am recording this on Saturday, September the 23rd, which means you have one more day to get your entry form in for the last video number 24. Get your entry form in and have a chance at winning 5 packs. I will make the draw for the last video and this video on my Tuesday live stream on Twitch at around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, the deadline for this video's contest question will be Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, put your name in, wait for the question though, and that'll come up a little bit later in the episode. Well, here we are, April the 12th, 1916, and the Montreal Expos coming off an opening day loss. As always, we are going to go month by month, and every once in a while we will jump in and kind of see how the team is doing. Again, we're kind of in a rut over the last few years. Really got my hopes up in 1906, 1907, 1908 when we won our first championship, but things have kind of gone downhill. We're really stagnant right now. Again, here are the progress reports, if that is something that interests you. Scott Stratton, again, a pick from 1906, first round pick, number 4 overall. We took him instead of Ohtani, hoping to get both, but we missed out on Ohtani with our second round pick by 1 slot. We were that close to getting him. We'll take a look at some of the other players in the league a little bit later. Here are, again, our progress reports, including some of our rookies. Ken Griffey Jr., again, who we took, I believe, 2nd overall, just behind Willie Mays in the 1913 draft a couple years ago. So he's playing in AAA this year, not starting too well. 231 average. Again, we're going to keep an eye on him. Watch his progress a little bit. If it starts to decline, we need to move him back down to AA, because again, he is still fairly young, 20 years old. All right, Montreal Expos at the end of April are currently in 4th place, 500. Again, little too early to tell, so let's go ahead and play the next month. June is upon us, and with that, we have a 22-25 record. Again, middle of the pack. Kind of where we've been the last couple of seasons. Again, on the leaderboard, Paul Molitor leading the league in RBIs. We got Nick Markakis, 3rd in overall average. Molitor has the 2nd most home runs, which is kind of surprising. And other than that, Ted Kennedy, the Senator, 3rd in the league in strikeouts. Let's kind of take a peek at our team, who's performing and who's not. Starters, not overly upset with. Again, maybe we move Scott Stratton back to the starting role or the ace role simply because he has the best ERA. And in the bullpen, again, it is what it is. Atkinson, we're going to go to use less often. He's got a 8.31. Again, it's early, and these guys don't see a lot of action. But again, enough that I'm going to move some of them to avoid high leverage. Let's go and take a look at our hitters. Right now, we've got a couple new guys. We've got Nick Markakis starting with the team this year after playing in AA the past 2 years. So again, he made the move right up to the major leagues, and he's hitting .331. So he's made that transition really well. He was a round 2 pick back in the 1913 draft. So we took Ken Griffey Jr. 1st round and Nick Markakis in the 2nd round. So he's turning out well, very happy with his progress. Other than that, if we look at the stats here, what do we've got? I guess we only want to look at this season. And I guess we've only played a couple of months. So let's take a look how they did in May. Nick Markakis doing well, 406 for Gary Thomason in short game time play. Manny Seguin hitting .373 last month. 303 for Joe Garagiola, and 380 for Paul Molitor. So again, I don't think it's our hitters that are really hurting us. No, look at this. Second in runs scored, second in batting average. Hitting wise, we're fine. It's the defense that's costing us. Let's take a look at the team stats if we can here. Let's go to the overall and look at team statistics. And let's look at, Major League Baseball. Look at the NL. Actually, let's look at all of them. Where are we here in terms of, what do we want to look at? Let's look at the fielding. So Montreal, we called it. We called it. Montreal is bad on defense, and we are the worst by far so far at minus 21.3 zone rating. Unacceptable. We cannot win a championship at minus 21.3. Conversely, the Cincinnati Reds are at 24.6, and because of that, they are in first place. Defense is needed. So disappointing. Let's take a look at our batting stats, because we're probably pretty good on the batting stats. In terms of OPS, about middle of the pack. Slugging percentage, again, top third. Stolen bases, again, we're doing okay. Runs scored, above the halfway mark. Runs, second in the league. Home runs, third in the league. So again, hitting's not our problem. Pitching, again, that's going to reflect a little bit probably on the fielding a little bit. Strikeouts, fourth in the league in strikeouts. ERA, about middle of the pack. And the FIP in the top third. So pitching I'm okay with, hitting I'm okay with, defense absolutely. But there's nothing we can do. We're not getting anyone in the draft that is a defensive genius or stud. We had opportunities early in this series, but we passed on them for the offense, which now is probably proving to be a mistake. So we're going to have to try and fix that as we go along. All right, let's go to July 1st and see where the team is at. Montreal's still in this relatively same position. We're kind of staying right in the middle of the pack this season. If we take a look at the overall standings, right now we're fifth in the NL. We've got a 35-39 record, which puts us about seventh overall, somewhere kind of in that range. Again, kind of where we've been for a long time. So we're going to sim ahead one more month. We're going to go to the beginning of August, and then we're going to take a look around the league at some of the other players that have gone in previous drafts. So let's go to the beginning of August. August 1st, and you see our player development report again here. And again, just going to slowly scroll through a lot of names on the August report. Nothing really jumping out as a big improvement or a big drop. Again, Cal Daniels is going to start to drop rapidly. He is 33 years old, and you can already see compared to a couple seasons ago, his avoid K gap power has really declined, and he's only had 2 plate appearances in the season. So the manager, the AI manager, isn't even using him at all. And we're already in August, so I think he has probably lost his job permanently. Let's take a look at the overall leaderboard here in both leagues. Ty Cobb. Remember Ty Cobb? Yeah. We never can get the low draft picks in the drafts with these meta stars. First overall by Washington back in 1910. He's only 27 years old still, hitting .328. Let's take a look at his career. Led the league in hits last year with 190. Led the league in runs a couple seasons ago. Already at a 30.7 WAR, and he's been in the league for 6 seasons. So Washington, you got yourself a player in Ty Cobb. Speaking of Washington, let's take a look where they are. They are, again, they are kind of like us, having some good players, but just can't turn the corner. They've got perennial all-star, future Hall of Famer, who's 33 years old and has not regressed at all. Remember when I showed you Cal Daniels at 33? Here's Dan Brothers, hitting .281. Again, he's won 6 MVPs. If he wins it one more time, we're going to rename the award for him. Man, the best player in the game hitting-wise is Dan Brothers so far in this series. So Washington has 2 of the elite hitters, but I guess where is their weakness here? Zone rating, I guess defense is a big weakness for them too. So if we go back to the team statistics and let's take a look for defense. Zone rating, we are last and Washington is second last. We are 53.9 to the negative. That is horrible. Let's take a look at our team here. Fielding stats, zone rating. And I know zone rating isn't everything, but it's kind of the first big thing that you look at least I look at for your defensive rating. I mean, you got your framing for your catcher, arm, all those other things, but you can see the different categories up here. If you guys like to look at something different for your defense, put it in the comments. Let me know what your big indicators are for how well your team is doing defensively. Is it errors? Is it zone rating? Is it putouts? So we've got Gary Tomlin, Joe Sewell, 12.3, Paul Molitor, 10.0. Those are the 2 biggies. Molitor and Sewell. Let's take a look at Molitor. Playing second base, and that's all he can kind of play. Kind of surprised he's doing so bad. Mind you, he's got a few games there at shortstop, so that's cost him a little bit. But again, without the DH, we don't have anywhere to put him. We got to put him at second base. And his hitting, I mean, he's doing really well hitting. So I guess it's the trade-off. But you can't have too many guys that you're trading that off with. Joe Sewell, 34 years old, hasn't regressed a ton in the last couple years. Obviously a lot from the beginning. Still a 4-star player. But his defense is lousy. His hitting is lousy. So Joe, what are you really doing to help us out? Maybe I move Majeski up a bit. Maybe Marquesis, we move to the number 2 for Juan Pierre. Again, at this point, I'm willing to try anything just to get the team getting a few more wins here. So again, if we sort by draft year, Joe Sewell and Pat Mullen are the 2 OGs. Pat Mullen, 35 years old, took him second round, and in Joe Sewell, we took in the first round. So our first 2 picks in this franchise, still on the team, probably not for very long. 1 left from 1902. We got a couple from 1903, 1 from 1904, 2 from 1905, and then half of the team is from 1906 or later. Let's go take a look at the minors, see if there's anyone that maybe we need to bring up. In AAA, Ken Griffey Jr. hitting .304. Okay, he has recovered. AAA is for him. So he's going to finish out the year this year in AAA. We're going to bring him up to the majors next year because it looks like he's ready and raring to go. Got a catcher here, but we have 2 pretty good catchers already. This one, Montreal, only hitting .238. And in terms of overall, we do got a shortstop. Might be a little bit better. Fielding right now in AAA at shortstop is positive, 3.6. So Danny Santana, do I bring you up? Hitting 250. Let's compare you to Joe Sewell. All right, so hitting-wise, we're not getting much out of him. Defensive, we're getting just a little better range. So I don't think at this point it's worth bringing up Danny Santana. And other than that, no one really in AAA is any better than what we have. In AA, we've got a few people. We've got Alex Gordon in AA hitting 326. First year in AA, so we're going to let him finish out. He was 402 in rookie, 326, so he's progressing fine. And also have our first round pick last year, 6th overall, Frank Schuchart, hitting 332, 49 stolen bases. So definitely going to bring him up next year with Ken Griffey Jr. Looks like he's ready. 332 in AA. Maybe start him in AAA. Just see how he does. In fact, I think I'm going to move him to AAA now. Let's move him over there. And then finally, Whitey Lockman. Whitey Lockman, only 19. I do not want to rush this kid. Center fielder. We drafted him, I think, as a 17-year-old with our first round pick back in 1914. So yeah, he was a 17-year-old right in the draft. And again, batting stats, hitting 386 in AA, but we're keeping him there. 492 in rookie, 386. So he and Ken Griffey Jr. definitely should add some pop to the defense. And both of them are pretty good defensively. So Lockman, Schuchart, Ken Griffey Jr., I think those are the targets to come up, with maybe Lockman delayed 1 year. All right, let's also look at the Cincinnati Reds, who drafted in front of us Ohtani. How is Ohtani doing in his career? It doesn't even look like he's on the Reds anymore. I believe he was drafted by the Reds. Maybe... No, it was the Cubs, right? It was the Cubs. I'm going like, Chicago and Cincinnati have been kind of our rivals over the last few years. So here he is. He is still on the Cubs. 3.5-star overall. Batting wise, nothing spectacular. Not having a great batting career. And pitching wise, again, just used in very, very limited roles. Only once has he pitched over 20 innings in a season. So we made the right choice going with Scott Stratton. He's turned out to be a bust in our franchise, which again is normal because we are using the OOTP development engine, and you don't get the same real life player that you might get in the game. All right, let's go ahead to the beginning of September. September 1st, and just kind of looking at the progress, the development report, we moved Schuchart up to AAA, and he has progressed up to a 4.5-star potential, and Ken Griffey Jr. is now a 4.5-star potential. Here's Benny DiStefano, still plugging away, 22 years old, hitting 357 in rookie. So Benny, because of that, because you are a favorite of the franchise, we're going to move Benny to AA. Yes, Benny, you are going to be promoted. So where are you here? Here you are. Enjoy AA. We'll check in on you next season, see how you're doing. Well, here is your trivia question for today. Again, leave your answer in the comment section with your perfect team username. You must put a different answer than someone else that has already commented. So if you're the first to comment, hey, go ahead. Put anything you want. If you are second or later, you got to find something unique. So what I want you to put is one of the names from this first column of streaks: the hitting streak, the save streak, the shutdown streak, or the scoreless streak. Name any one player that is currently having a streak on the left-hand side. Look at that. Our very own Bo Jackson leading the league with an 18-game hitting streak. Atkinson currently on a 14-game scoreless streak since we moved him to the avoid high leverage role. Sewell, Bo Jackson, 7-game scoring streak. Way to go. Bo Jackson, 2-game home run streak. So finally we're getting some players on this streak board. So again, enter any name that you see on the left-hand side for your contest entry. And again, we will draw for that on Tuesday on the live stream. Time to go to the playoffs, but before we do, the Montreal Expos are 461, which means we would be drafting 5th overall. Just outside of maybe 4th overall. 1, 2, 3, 4th overall. We are currently in a lottery position, just behind the Phillies. So we do have something on the line, a lottery draft position possible. Let's go to the end of the regular season. Okay, it is playoff time, and before we announce our World Series contenders, let's take a look at the news. Players retiring. First of all, in our rookie league, Wild Bill Wright, not much of a career, 27 years old, and like the game likes to do, players that aren't being used a lot, they retire them at an earlier age. Jack Allen, we drafted in the 8th round in 1911. Played a little bit, all in rookie league. Nothing again to get too excited about with Jack Allen. In terms of players retiring in AAA, one player, Duke Shirley, who did have a few games with the Montreal Expos. Finished with a 1-2 record, a 2.14 ERA, but then played the rest of his career in AAA. And, didn't do too bad in AAA. 37 years old, so more of an age rather than ability thing, I think, for that player. Okay, the playoffs are here, and it is going to be between the Detroit Tigers and the New York Giants. Detroit and New York. Let's take a look how many World Series each has won. New York Giants have won 2 World Series, so they're 2 for 2. And the other team, the Detroit Tigers, have made 1 World Series appearance, but have not won yet. So they are the underdog. How are they in the regular season? Detroit, 84-71. New York, 92-62. New York, Alan Wiggins, Willie Mays. Oh, Willie Mays. 4th year in the league so far. Wow. So Willie Mays getting his first World Series appearance. They have Ken Griffey Sr., who again was 1 slot away from us drafting him in the 2nd round. We almost got a father-son combination. That would have been nice. I would have enjoyed that, because the father would have played in the majors first. Dennis Eckersley, they have 23-year-old. When did they draft him? Round 1, 8th overall. Giants are solid. Let's take a look at the Detroit team. Shad, Jimmy Williams, Mike Sweeney. There's not really anyone here impressing me. This is a team that I think overachieved. Mark Bellinger, I guess Mike Sweeney, Jimmy Williams, probably their number one player. So I'm going to call the New York Giants in 5. I think they have a much better team, better rotation, and of course they had the better regular season. So Giants in 5 or 4. even less time than I thought. I figured they would win, but I always like to give the underdog at least one game. My score is 527, and I guess OOTP thinks that's a very fine score. So I guess I'll take it. Okay, let's go on to the awards. Before we get to the awards, we have a press release by the Montreal Expos. The Montreal Expos have announced the retirement of number 99, Ted Kennedy. And not only is Ted Kennedy retired, but the team has decided to retire the number 99. So 99 will no longer be allowed to use in the league or on the team. I don't see this often with OOTP. A nice little feature here where AI decides that, hey, this has been a pretty good player. Let's retire his number. Ted Kennedy. Kind of sad, I'm going to be honest. He was a player that I didn't expect to stay on the team as long as he did. He was taken in the inaugural draft where we took all 3-star or less players. Most of them were 2-star or less. And he was taken in the 15th round of that inaugural draft. So he wasn't very good. But I mean, look at his game achievements here. Wow, here's the opposite of Ohtani. Ohtani's turning out to be a bust. And Ted Kennedy, who played 3 years in the league in the 1800s, 12 wins overall. But bring him into OOTP and the randomness of the OOTP engine, and he just has a wonderful career. Over 1,000. Actually, this is pretty cool. I mean, what are the odds? Ted Kennedy started 1,000 games. How cool is that? 3,313 plate appearances. And contributed a little bit. I mean, obviously he's not a hitter. That's not why we have him on the team. But because it's no DH, he is going to get some at-bats. And pitching-wise, went 426 and 446. But really, if you take out the first 3 years where we were a tanking team, not very good, that's 80, 90, 96, I guess, 70, 86. That's a lot. That's a lot of losses. So remove those, say 90 losses, that would make it 356, giving him a winning record. So yes, 1,000 games started, 95.1 WAR. Look at all the categories where he led the league, and he is going to be on my Hall of Fame ballot. Again, not probably a pitcher that would have had the same achievements on other teams, but because we always used him usually in the number 1 or 2 role, just outstanding. So Ted Kennedy, congratulations on your retirement. Only 35 years old. Would have been nice to get a little bit more out of you, but 1,000 games and your number retired. Way to go, Ted. The senator has finally finished serving the public. Okay, let's go look at our awards. And did Dan Brothers get an award named after him? Let's start off with the American League winners, and it is Dan Brothers. So starting next season, the Pete Browning Award is going to be renamed the Dan Brothers Award. Pete won it 6 times. This is the 7th for Dan. Well deserving. Don Oss is the Cy Young winner, going 18-18. Harry Stovey, who was drafted in the first round, first overall in 1915, is your rookie of the year, hitting 270. Not outstanding, but for a rookie, 143 hits, 73 stolen bases. And Billy Wagner, first-time winner of the reliever of the year. 24 saves, 5-4 record in dead ball. That's pretty good, 24 saves, because usually you get a lot of complete games. All right, let's check out the National League. Any Expos know it is Ned Williamson, second-time MVP, 58 stolen bases. I thought he might have more with that speed. Congratulations, Ned, catcher for the Chicago Cubs. Dennis Eckersley, we looked at earlier. Dennis Eckersley, 23-11 with a 1.92 ERA. First round, 8th overall. Yeah, he might have been good to add. Can't remember if he was an option. When we go back and look at draft picks in 1920, once we get to the 1920 season, we'll look back at the first 20 number 1 overalls. Christian Yelich is your rookie of the year, 21 years old. I believe we could have taken him. I think we could have taken him instead of Willie Mays, if I remember, or instead of Ken Griffey Jr., maybe. And 288. And your reliever of the year, first-time winner, Emil Frisk. 18 saves, 7-4 record with a 5.1 K per 9. So there are your 1916 award winners. Time to go to the Hall of Fame vote. Let's find out who is eligible, and let's try and get a couple guys in there. No one has been elected to the Hall of Fame yet. I think it's time we get someone in. Okay, we do have quite a few that we're going to have to consider. I'm just going to look at the metrics here. Gallardo, you're no Ted Kennedy. Only led the league 1 year in a few categories. 1,700 strikeouts, though. Did you win any awards? 1 World Series trophy. So if we go just based on the metrics over 50, Kerry Wood, I'm going to put him up there again. We nominated him last time. Markham, nominating him again. John Healy won the Cy Young Award once. 67 WAR, 242 wins, 228 losses, 261 ERA, over 2,000 strikeouts. But because of that metric, I am going to include you for now. Gallardo, you're over 50. We'll just put the guys over 50 first of all. All right, next let's look at individual awards. 2 World Series, 1 playoff MVP, 4 Great Gloves, 2 World Series. Dykstra, you're going back in. 2 World Series, 1 playoff MVP. All right, let's take a look then now at win-loss record and average. 304 for Noah. Positive win record for Kerry Wood. We have Kerry already. 285 for the Chief. We've got Healy in there. 282 for Greer. 274, we got Dykstra. Christensen, very good win record. 715. I'm not gonna put him in this time. I think he's just on the borderline. We're not gonna include him. And finally, Dick Allen. 302 average. Led the league in a few categories early in his career, almost 1,500 hits. But is it Hall of Fame worthy? 9 times Player of the Week, 7 times Batter of the Month. I think he's just on the outside looking in, although I do like that 302 average. 61 home runs. Yeah, I think we're going to say no to Dick Allen for this year because we have 5 already. So let's go with Lenny Dykstra, Gallardo, Healy, Markham, and Kerry Wood, all players with a metrics of over 50. And again, it's not the only thing to look at, but we're going to go with that. We will submit the ballot. And time to go look at the results. Let's find out the Hall of Fame results and how many of these people at least stayed on the ballot. If you don't get in, I hope you stay on the ballot for a few more years. The results are in. And with a vote of 70.6%, John Healy is under 5% from being voted in. Stays on the ballot, maybe a good chance he'll get in. Kerry Wood, Gallardo, Markham, Antonelli, Dick Allen got a few votes, Fritz Peterson. So we had over half of the selections get at least 5%, so they will stay on the ballot. Unfortunately, Kyle Weiland has dropped off after his 3rd year. Ozzie Guillen, Tommy Bond. So no one elected, but this is the highest percentage we've had in a Hall of Fame vote. So congratulations, John Healy and Kerry Wood, Gallardo, Markham, and so on for getting at least a few votes. All right, it is time to go check out, first of all, are we in the draft lottery? A 455 percentage. We have the 3rd worst record. All are in our division, our conference. Cards, Cubs, and Expos. One of us has a good shot at getting first overall pick. The Athletics are the other team, so I guess it's time to go to the draft lottery and find out who's going to get that first overall pick. And of course, we will look at the top 10 prospects in the draft before we end out the episode. Exciting. We could get a franchise player. Here we go. Let's go find out the draft lottery results. With the first overall pick in the 1917 draft, it will go to the Athletics. Move up from number 4. The good news is it's not a conference rival. Cards move to 2, Cubs move down to 3. All of our conference moves down and we get the number 4 pick. Well, is there going to be a really good player available at number 4? Let's look at the draft pool. Here are the projected top 10 picks. Cecil Cooper, projected 5-star potential, looks really good. Defense not that great, but it's a first baseman. If he's there, I am taking him. He looks amazing. And because we're almost out of the Deadball Era, he's going to start hitting some home runs when he develops. George Gore, oh, gorgeous. Going to call, if I draft you, your name is not going to be Piano Legs, it's going to be Gorgeous George. Look at that profile. The speed. And again, we could put him in center, in outfield with Ken Griffey Jr. and with Schuttgart. Or with, who is the, no, it wasn't Schuttgart, it was Lockman. Lockman, Ken Griffey Jr., Schuttgart at shortstop. That could be pretty good. George Gore, I don't mind taking you. Kent Hrbek. Kent Hrbek, of course, played recently in the 1990s. So I guess for us older people, we would remember Kent Hrbek. Younger people, not so much. So Kent Hrbek, another first baseman. I can't say I'm overly excited. I don't think I would draft him because we already have Bob Chance. I know he's 31, but I don't think it's a big upgrade. So Kent, you're not going to be our choice. Although another Kent, this time a Jeff Kent, possibly a second baseman. Defense again, we need some defense. Stan Hack could become our new third baseman. Because right now at third base, we are running Hank Majeski. Let's check out Hank. That would be Nick Markakis. Hank Majeski. 231 average with fielding in the positive. Okay, so Hank is okay at third. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that defense. Hank's the kind of guy we want at third. We'll give up hitting to have his defense. So I don't think then we're going to take Stan Hack. Mark McGuire. Whoa. Oh, once we get to the 1920s, he's going to light it up. And maybe along the way, the game's going to introduce a DH rule. McGuire, I would take. Tim Raines, another outfielder, a very good profile, very well balanced. If he develops as it looks like he should, can play second base or left field. So we got some big names here. Allie Clark. Again, an awesome dead ball profile if he had a little more eye. And Bob, here's our first pitcher. With Ted Kennedy retiring, could be an option. And finally, a second pitcher, Jim Scott. Played in the early 1900s, so perfect timing for Jim Stott. I mean, this is the 1917 draft, and he played in 1917. 107 wins, 113 losses. I'd like a little more control out of you, Jim. He's got the screwball. So this is going to be a very interesting draft. I would love Cooper or Gore. I don't think they're going to be there for us. In fact, if we take a quick peek at the mock draft, we're projected to get Jeff Kent. And I think if we can't get Gore or Cooper, I think Mark McGuire is going to be my target just for that home run ability. I know I said I'd get defense, but no one really here plays really good defense. Or maybe we go Jeff Kent. We will find out next episode. A lot to kind of look over here, and I'm sure I'll look at a little bit more off screen to kind of see where we're at and where our biggest needs are. Want a defense, but there's not really a defensive specialist in those first few picks. We'll take a little deeper look. There might be someone later in round one that we move off the board and go grab. Thank you so much for watching. Again, leave a like on the video, helps promote it out to other people looking for baseball content. Enter the contest, and good luck in the draw on Tuesday for those 5 standard packs. It's a great day for baseball. Take care of yourself, take care of those that are around you, and we'll see you next episode.